What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another Commish report. This time it's week 11, and for those of you, I know that those of you in my league, the League of Shiva, I apologize. I know it's Saturday of week 12 right now, and I'm just getting this out, but it's been kind of a long week, and whatever, better later than never, right? But let's get right to it. The Week 11 Commish Report, where I break down the week that was, preview the week to come, and we'll go over the standings and take a quick look at the current playoff picture as well in the league for which I'm the commissioner for, called the League of Shiva. Week 12 already underway, as I just said, and we are only 2 weeks away from the regular season being over and the playoffs starting up. In this league, the playoffs start in Week 14 of the NFL, with the Shiva Bowl being in Week 16. I decided a few years ago to make it so that the championship was on, was on Week 16 as opposed to Week 17. And the reason for that is because sometimes in Week 17, the league or teams in the league, in the NFL league, tend to sit some of their starters to preserve them for the playoffs. So Week 16, I figured, would be a better bet for the championship, so that's coming right up. But here in the League of Shiva, it's the beginning to get exciting to watch what teams will make it, what teams will fall by the wayside. So let's get right to it, since there's definitely a lot to discuss. First of all, we'll start off with the matchup of the week. A come-from-behind victory for my Big Fat 77s, beating the Google This All the Way 109-106. That's my marquee matchup of the week. A big win for my Big Fat 77s, as now I have swept the 2-game series against my brother Chris's Google This All the Way. Chris had the lead for the entire week, all the way up to Monday Night Football, where, which of course was the Carolina-New England game. And he had Carolina running back D'Angelo Williams going, and I had my kicker Stephen Gostowski going that night. And Chris actually had a 104-100 lead going into Monday night. So I had a lot riding on my kicker, but I also kept the faith. I would have lost a tiebreaker situation since Chris had 40 points from his backup quarterback, Carson Palmer, against my only 21 points that I got from Peyton Manning. And of course, any tiebreaker is broken utilizing the quarterback matchup. So he would have won a tiebreaker situation. With Google This All the Way only getting 2 points from D'Angelo Williams on Monday night, all I needed was 7 or more points from Gostowski to win the matchup. So even though I was definitely sad that the Patriots lost on Monday night, but I was very excited when Gostowski's final field goal was good, went through the uprights, and I come away and sneak by with my 9th win of the season. Now I'm at 9-2, and Chris's Google This All the Way have now dropped 2 straight heartbreaking matchups and fall to 6-5 on the regular season. Moving on from the best to the worst, that would be what I usually call the poop matchup of the week. I actually had a tough time coming up with the poop matchup of the week this time. After much debate with myself, I came to the conclusion that the matchup that deserves to be called the poop matchup would have to be what I consider also the upset of the week, and that would be the Mile High Social Club beating the Some Things You Can't Unsee Bros 100-89. That's right, folks. Dan's Mile High Social Club may be one of those pesky basement teams that disrupt the steady pace of the top-tier teams in the league. Dan manages to snap his 4-game losing streak by taking out Timmy's Some Things You Can't Unsee Bros. Dan had stellar performances from his running back, LaShawn McCoy, with 26 points. His quarterback, Colin Kaepernick, got him 17, and tight end Delaney Walker got him 15 points. He could have gotten even more points if he had actually gone with quarterback Alex Smith, which he actually had on his bench, with 26 points. Typically, 100 points isn't enough to beat a team like Timmy's Some Things You Can't Unsee Bros. However, in Week 11, it was. Timmy only scoring 89 points, lost to them, but he did get decent points from Drew Brees, who had 21. Running back Chris Johnson got him 20 points. And he even had a big 18-point performance from his Seahawks defense. He got poor performances, though, from Jordan Cameron, who only got him 2 points, and a big goose egg 0 going to A.J. Green on his starting lineup. That wound up being the difference in this one, as the Some Things You Can't Unsee Bros dropped to 6-5, and even though the Mile High Social Club is a basement-dwelling team, the win does get him to 3-10 on the season. However, Dan has been, unfortunately, mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. So the only thing he can do at this point is continue to ruin other people's chances at postseason play, which so far he's doing a decent job of that. Moving on to what I would call the blowout of the week, which definitely would have to be the case. The Philly Cheesesteaks take out the New Hampshire Madmen 166-73. Now, I had mentioned in my last report that this would most likely be a marquee matchup situation, and it was a marquee matchup. However, it was a huge blowout by the Philly Cheesesteaks, as they're making a statement in the League of Shiva, and especially in this battle for second place in the North Division. New Hampshire Madmen started out the year 6-2 and has since lost 3 straight matchups and now is at 6-5. This time he loses in crushing fashion to the Philly Cheesesteaks, who had some huge performances, including a 41-point performance from Atlanta running back Bobby Rainey and 33 points each from quarterback Matthew Stafford and wide receiver Antonio Brown. He even managed to get 25 points from Ray Rice, albeit on his bench though. Dave's New Hampshire Madmen had another rough week, only getting double-digit figures from 2 of his 9 players. New Hampshire Madmen, as I said, fall now to 6-5, and since I beat Chris is now tied with him at 6-5. With the win, Jeff moves to 7-4 on the season and continues to flirt with first place in the North Division. Since I'm at 9-2 and he's at 7-4, there's still a slight chance that he would wind up with the same record as me in the North Division, and that would be if he were to win his remaining 2 matchups and I were to lose my remaining 2 matchups. If that were to happen, some serious tiebreakers would come into play, including points 4. However, he and I split the season series against one another 1-1, so that wouldn't become a factor. But hey, enough about me. Let's move on to the next recap from Week 11. The Doug Tatership taking out the Nocho Cincos 120-98. It still boggles my mind, as Doug started the season with a 1-4 record and now has won 6 straight matchups to take over the top spot in the Shiva South Division. Another picture-perfect week for him, scoring more than enough points to win. Doug continues to ride the Calvin Johnson train, which steamrolls through every team he comes across. And no, I refuse to call him by his self-proclaimed nickname. Yeah, I won't even mention it. Either way, 36 points from Calvin Johnson, another big performance also by his quarterback Nick Foles with 21 points, and he got 18 points from Ryan Matthews. I do kind of feel bad for my mother. Her Nocho Cincos lose again based on a toss-up decision or 2 not going her way. If she had played her Bengals defense, which actually wound up with 26 points on her bench, instead of her 49ers defense, who only got 7. And if she had played Cam Newton on Monday night instead of Phillip Rivers, Cam Newton had 32, Rivers only had 15, then she actually wins this matchup. But unfortunately for her, she's fallen into that difficult fantasy football situation where no matter what decision she makes, it seems to be the wrong one. Because she makes those decisions incorrectly, if she does make those decisions correctly, she totally thwarts Doug's chance at 6 straight wins. But with the loss, Nocho Cinco falls to 3-8, and also unfortunately has been mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. Speaking of being mathematically eliminated, the final matchup recap from Week 11 is the Hump Day Camels taking out the Binghamtons 117-81. Linda's Hump Day Camels hold on to their playoff hopes while eliminating John's Binghamtons playoff hopes, and in order to continue to have hopes, she will have to keep winning. However, in Week 11, she did take care of that business, taking out the Binghamtons on the heels of a huge 46-point performance from her quarterback Ben Roethlisberger and a 27-point performance by her swing wide receiver Vincent Jackson. Those were really the only players she had that got her really any big numbers. But that was of no issue. John has lost his hopes of playing onward in the playoffs, which start in 3 weeks. His wide receiver, Emmanuel Sanders, and his Titan defense both getting goose eggs in Week 11. He only had 81 points on the board, and it was not enough to beat the Hump Day Camels as he falls to 3-8, along with Dan's Mile High Social Club and my mother Deb's Nocho Cinco. With the win, Hump Day Camels improved to 5-6. Okay, so that's going to wrap up the week that was. Now it's time to take a look at the Week 12 rundown of matchups, which is already underway, as I mentioned, after the Falcons-Saints game this past Thursday night to kick off Week 12. Let's take a look at how the matchups are shaping up so far, starting with the matchups that already have points on the board for this week, pending the NFL games on Sunday and Monday. Starting with the 6-5 Some Things You Can't Unsee Bros now jump out to an early 25-0 lead over the Hump Day Camels at 5-6. Linda's Hump Day Camels didn't have anyone playing in Thursday night's game, but Timmy got 25 points from quarterback Drew Brees. His remaining 8 players on his team will play on Sunday. Excuse me. This is a rematch of Week 4 when Hump Day Camels got the best of Timmy's Some Things You Can't Unsee Bros, etc. Whatever his name is so long. I'm sick and tired of typing it out and saying it. It's just such a long name. But anyway, she beats him in Week 4, 150-139, and this matchup could be potentially decided on Monday night when the only player left in the matchup would be Linda's kicker, Phil Dawson. Hump Day Camels will be trying to play a double foil on the Some Things You Can't Unsee Bros by not only beating him, but providing him with another loss, moving him further away from his playoff hopes. At 6-5, Timmy needs a win here as well, so this will be an intense matchup that could come right down to the wire since there's a lot riding on it. Moving on, 23-0 early lead for Google This All the Way over the Philly Cheesesteaks. This is a pretty intense matchup as well of two top-tier teams. This is also a matchup I'll be keeping a close eye on myself. I'm kind of rooting for Chris's Google This All the Way to win to throw a wrench into Jeff's Philly Cheesesteaks hopes of tying my Big Fat 77s for the best record in the league. Of course, I need to win too. This is another rematch of division rivals. These guys met back in Week 6 when Jeff wound up winning 111-99. Chris will be looking to avenge that loss this week, and this matchup also got underway on Thursday night as Chris got a cool 23 points from his tight end, Jimmy Graham. Jeff hasn't had anyone start as of yet, but based on his last performance, it is obvious he won't be going down without a fight. However, anything can happen in this matchup. I'm going to be rooting for the Google This All the Ways, but it is possible that the 23 spot put up by Graham for Chris could wind up being the knockout blow. We'll have to see and see how that happens. A lot riding on this matchup, however, for both teams. There are only 7 teams with playoff hopes at this point, and these 2 teams could wind up fighting for that very important 6th seed. The Doug Tater ship, 13-4 early on here over the Mile High Social Club. Doug is off to a bit of a slow start over Dan's Mile High Social Club. However, on Thursday night, this matchup got underway when Doug Tater's ships got only 7 points from wide receiver Harry Douglas and 6 points from his kicker Garrett Hartley, while Dan is off to a rough start with only getting 4 points from his swing wide receiver Marquez Colston. This is a rematch as well. Back in Week 9, Doug blew Dan out of the water 160-57 just a short 3 weeks ago. And since the Mile High Social Club has no chance at the playoffs, a win here simply would act as a stick in the spokes. Doug is looking to extend his winning streak to 7 in a row and retain his spot on the top of the South Division and the first round playoff bye week. Still more to get to here, guys. The Nocho Cinco's off to a 6-0 lead over the New Hampshire Madmen. Nocho Cinco's, as I mentioned, are out of it at this point, but New Hampshire Madmen are very much not. This is the only interdivision matchup of Week 12, and that means it's the first and last time that these 2 teams will meet during the regular season. Dave has had a rough time the past 3 weeks, as I mentioned earlier, and my Mother Nocho Cinco's team will be looking to extend that losing streak of 3 games, 3 straight matchups, even though she is out of playoff contention. She is, however, off to a slow start in this one, having only gotten 4 points from Tony Gonzalez on Thursday and a measly 2 points from her swing wide receiver, Lance Moore. So 6-0 the score there to start off this matchup. Dave has yet to have a starter play in that one yet. Finally, my Big Fat 77s taking on the 3-8 Binghamtons. I don't really have much to say about this matchup against my brother John. I mean, obviously I'm hoping to win. If I do win and Jeff loses to Chris, I will be guaranteed the best record in the league. One of the fascinating things, however, about this matchup is that Tom Brady is John's quarterback and Peyton Manning, of course, is my quarterback. And, of course, they're playing against one another on Sunday night. So this matchup really could come down to how well these 2 quarterbacks do. With a win, I would also become the first team to reach 10 wins on the regular season. All right, that's going to complete the preview of Week 12, and as we do each and every week, we're going to now take a look at the standings and the playoff picture. Only 2 weeks left in the regular season, and it's starting to get exciting. So thanks for watching this week's Commish Report for Week 11. Be sure to join me next week as we do it all again, and here come the standings. After 11 weeks of fantasy football, here's how the standings in our league are shaping up. In the Shiva North Division, my Big Fat 77s are at 9-2 and remain atop the division as well as the entire league. Philly Cheesesteaks with a win in Week 11 has moved up from the 5th seed all the way to the number 3 seed. They have also sole possession of second place in the division with a record of 7-4. Google This All the Way and New Hampshire Madmen tied at 6-5, with the edge in points 4 going to Google This All the Way. Binghamton, now out of contention for playoffs, are at 3-8, rounding out the division. In the South, the Dictatorship, with their 6th straight win, are now in sole possession of first place in his division and remain the 2nd overall playoff seed. The Some Things You Can't Unsee Bros fell out of first and are now 2nd in the South and have the 4th overall seed at 6-5. Hump Day Camels still have a chance at the playoffs and a record of 5-6. The Mile High Social Club and Nocho Cinco round out the South Division at 3-8 and will miss the 2013 fantasy football playoffs. Speaking of which, let's take a look at what the playoff picture looks like right now. Okay, my Big Fat 77s and the Dictatorship are still the 1st and 2nd seeds respectively, and the first round bye week. The only change to this playoff picture to announce is that the Philly Cheesesteaks and Google This All the Way have switched places. With the loss to my Big Fat 77s, Google This All the Way has moved down to the 5th overall seed, with the Philly Cheesesteaks with the win taking over the New Hampshire Madmen have bumped themselves all the way up to the 3rd overall seed. If the playoffs were to start today, the 2 matchups would be the number 4 seeded Some Things You Can't Unsee Bros taking on the number 5 Google This All the Way, and the other matchup would be the Philly Cheesesteaks at number 3 seed taking on the 6th seed New Hampshire Madmen. That will conclude the Commish Report. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you later.